Hello fellow chatterers and book connoisseurs and everyone else who has popped in because you're curious or you're lost. I'm Chatty and welcome back to my channel, Chatty the Mad Chatter. So I am now doing part 2 of my I Can't Resist Readathon. So May, thought wasn't going to partake in any readathons, thought was going to chill, did a TBR game where I've put all the books that I want to read. There's a reward and punishment hanging on it. And I've ended up wanting to do 3 readathons. So an announcement video came out recently from Sophia at the channel Sophia's Thoughts, and it is Shardathon Part 4. I have not been able to take part in any Shardathon readathon. That is really hard to say. Shardathon readathons, because I always notice them when they're finished. So I'm so pleased that I'm actually here at the start and I am going to do, and this one is based around Bridge 4 from the Stormlight Archive, which is one of my favourite found families and my favourite fantasy series of all time. It is. I keep saying possibly, but you know, I'm committing now. It's my favourite fantasy series of all time. And I'm so excited because I'm currently rereading these books. I'm going to get to finally reading Rhythm of War. I have just got my copy of Dawnshard, which is a novella that comes between book 3 and 4, and I'm so excited. So I'm going to be sharing all the possibilities that I might be reading for this readathon. So this readathon is, you have a month, but it's over May and June. So it doesn't feel like quite as intimidating is the wrong word, but there's a little bit of breathing space involved, and you can fit as many prompts to as many books as you like. So you could, if you could squeeze all the prompts into 2 books, you can do that. It's absolutely fine. So it's just fun. It's just a lot of fun. So I'll obviously be linking Sophia's video of where she announces it and explains the readathon properly. So if you want more information, please do go and check her video out. She is a really lovely booktuber. I really enjoy watching her. So I'm just going to talk about the prompts and what I might be reading for them. So there are some very mild spoilers within them, because you name characters from Bridge 4. But if you haven't started the books, it's probably not really going to mean anything to you, so I'm sure it's all fine. I am probably going to set this up like I did with the Reindeer Games readathon on Shelf Space that was in December. And this idea I totally stole from Melly. She chats a lot on the Shelf Space Discord, and she had this amazing idea where she does a bingo board and then she has a colour coding and just puts dots under all the prompts of the book that covers. So this was my version. I had so much fun with it. I absolutely love this idea. So for example, over Christmas I was reading the Christmasosaurus, and then it would fit under all of these prompts. So I can see which ones I've got left to try and cover, which ones have got lots of prompts that fill them, and it was just a very helpful way of looking at it. So I'm probably going to do a Shardathon version of that. So let's get into the prompts and the books. So the first prompt is Kaladin, who is, you know, the reason Bridge 4 is here. And for this one, you have to read a book with a reluctant hero. So I have a few possibilities. I have The Name of All Things. Although Kieran, the main character from the Rune of Kings, doesn't completely star in this book, he's hearing the stories of this book until the last third, and then we get the present day again. He is a reluctant hero, or will he be the hero or the villain? Ooh, we don't know. It's so exciting. But I would count this one for that prompt. We then have Inkdeath. And I would say Mo and Maggie are probably reluctant heroes in here. They find themselves kind of put into those roles they weren't expecting. I'd say more Mo than Maggie. Maggie, well, definitely in Inkspell, she seemed to be quite excited about doing stuff. But I can't remember Inkdeath at all well, so we will see. Name of All Things I will be reading in May. Inkdeath will probably, if I pick it up, it will be June. Then we have Syl, our wonderful Spren. We love Syl. And perfectly for her, she has Animal Companion as her prompt. So again, I have a few options. So again, Name of All Things would work for this one because we have, I can't remember the name, but one of the, are they called, like, no, I think I'm getting confused with the Two Towers. I don't think it's the Roshanuri or something. But the Jorat horses, Blood Mares? I can't remember the name, but there is a horse in here that is more than, it's not a horse, it's more than a horse. And they have a bond with Janelle, who's sort of the main protagonist in The Name of All Things. So that would count. I then have The True Queen, which would also fit into the Asian Readathon for May. So hopefully this one will be a May read. And Prunella has familiars in the previous books, also to the Crown. And I presume we will still have the familiars in The True Queen. And then we have Rainbow Grey Edge of the Storm, which is on my May TBR, along with Name of All Things. And, you know, Floofy Cloud Cat Nim is definitely an animal companion. So then we have Teft. And for Teft, we have to read a book with a mentor character. So there's some mentoring going on. This is quite a popular concept in fantasy books. I can't remember if there is any kind of mentorship going on in The Name of All Things. There is. Pretty sure, is she called Sabine? One of the characters in here who is so much fun. I'm pretty sure she is like an apprentice to the main villain. So that would count. And then in here, you know, magicians always love an apprentice. And I think Prunella takes some other girls under her wing in here. But she's also learning at the same time. So I think it could work for this one. I think it could show its head in Rainbow Grey as well. Because I think Ray Grey needs to learn more about her rainbow powers. And for that, she needs someone to help her. And would then be a mentorship going on in this one. Also, when we get into June, so Shardathon starts on the 16th of May. I'm already reading Words of Radiance, and I intend to be absolutely finished by the time we get to the 16th of May. But in June, I will then be on to Oathbringer, which I'll be reading this copy here. I had previously read from this copy, but I'm going to be reading my new pretty one. There are, as more of the magic kind of comes to the forefront, there are more people being trained and mentored in those such things. So that would also work as well. And I only just thought of that one. So I need to make a note of that on here. There we go. Fun times. And then we have possibly besides Kaladin and Sil, my favourite Bridge 4 character. I mean, I do love all of Bridge 4, but there's just something special about Rock. I love Rock. And Rock loves food. And, you know, his culinary tastes will not always be for everyone because we are airsick lowlanders and we do not appreciate everything he does. But this book from the Asian Readathon, Sweet Bean Paste, would deal with food. So that would work very well. Obviously, there is food in Oathbringer. When I read ACOTAR, there was food and drink seemed to be featured quite a lot in ACOTAR. I presume the same would be in A Court of Mist and Fury. And actually, I think A Court of Mist and Fury would probably have a mentorship trope as well. I have a feeling that Feyre learns to do more stuff in this and would need to be taught it. So mentorship is clearly one that's going to be easy to do. So yeah, that's food. Any more books with food? I don't think so. I think I've covered the food now. Oh no. No, I have not, because I haven't put it in the pile because it is part of my display. But of course, after Words of Radiance, before I start Oathbringer, I will be reading Edgedancer. So this could be May or June, depending how my reading goes. But this is a novella. Obviously, it's Brandon Sanderson, so it's more like a small book than a novella. This will be a reread. I love Edgedancer. I am one of those people that like the character Lift. I love Lift. I think she's great, and I love Wendell. And the Lift enjoys food. I'm not going to say anything more in case you've not read it, but if you know Edge Dancer and you know Lift, you know food is quite prominent in this book. So yeah, almost in a way I kind of want that one to be food, just because of how much I love the food link in that book. Okay, I think we have done food now. So on to the next one. We have Dre. If I may be pronouncing these names wrong, I don't listen to audiobooks. I don't see the names pronounced. I just kind of go with what I go with. So if I'm pronouncing it wrong, I'm sorry, but I'm going with Dre. So Dre is in a gay relationship in, I can't remember which book of the Stormlight Archive it is in. So for the prompt for him is read a book with LGBTQ+ representation. So I have a few of those. We have representation in the name of all things. Also on my May TBR, one of my favourite books, The Black Flamingo, has LGBTQ+ rep in it. And I did have another one. Oh yeah, it's one that I haven't got. It's probably not going to be this one, but I do also want to read Rick, which is another book after Melissa by Alex Gino, that tells the story of another child in the class struggling with their sexual identity. So lots of possibilities for that one. We then move on to Scar, and a Scar is one where there is like a training montage or just training in the book. So that kind of fits in quite well with the mentorship, because usually when you have that you also need to do some training. So for that one again, I've kind of got I'm presuming there'll be some training in here. I'm presuming there'll be some training in here. I'm presuming there will be training in here. I think there's training in this one as well. It's been a while since I've read it. Was there anything else with training? Just having a little look at my notes. No, I think that was good. I think we've got enough to cover training. Sigil was more of a challenge, because Sigil likes to document and record things, and so for Sigil it is retelling. But I have got a book that could fit into the Asian Readathon, and that is An Arrow to the Moon, which is not necessarily a retelling, but it is inspired by the Romeo and Juliet story, so there is that aspect to it, so I think that will definitely count as a retelling. The other option, I don't know if it would count as a retelling, but it's definitely inspired, and that is Percy Jackson and the Lightning Thief, which I have here. I'm wanting to reread this series this year and I haven't started yet. And again, it's a children's middle grade, so it's quite a nice easy book to kind of pick up and read. And that would also count, I think, as a retelling, because we've got the Greek mythology involved in there, and there's a few well-known storylines. But the one that I think sticks out for me, I'm pretty sure in The Lightning Thief we have the kind of Medusa story that is retold and kind of played differently, so that would also be an option. Okay, so I have two then for that one. Nice. Make a note. I'll make a note of that too. Oh, and I've just found my tiny teacup. I never did my one-shot, no editing. But in case you can't tell, with me constantly glancing at my notes, go, oh, I better write that down. This is one shot and there is no editing. So cheers halfway through. Marvellous. Right. Got one. We're nearly halfway. We then have Leighton. And Leighton is Second Chance. So for Leighton, this could be a book that you want to give a second chance to. I can't remember if Sophia said an author you wanted to give a second chance to. But with a second chance book, it could be one that you started reading and for whatever reason had to put down. Still not ready to pick up Upon a Burning Throne yet. It's too epic for right now when I have so many things going on. But it also counts as like rereads, like you're having another go with that book for whatever reason. So I think that would definitely, I could definitely count Edge Dancer. I could definitely count Oathbringer, because I am rereading them in order to get to have that all in my brain for reading the fourth book, Rhythm of War. So I think that would count as a second chance. Okay, we then have Dabbid, and this is a book that has neurodivergent representation. So again, I recommend looking at Sophia's video because she explains it really well, but this kind of covers anything where the disability is due to neurodivergence. I can hear my child. Okay. where had I got to? We'd done the neurodivergent. So yes, please look at Sophia's channel. She explains it really well, but it's basically looking at anyone who has a disability that's linked to neurodivergency. So that could be with ASC, it could be due to anxiety or depression. So it's those sorts of things. Ooh. So I have a few options. I have Under Rose, ooh, you can't see it. There's the light shining on it. Under Rose Tainted Skies. And this book involves a character who is agoraphobic, I think. I think there are a few other things going on as well, but I'm really excited to read this book. I heard really good things about it from Olivia at OliviasCatastrophe. I'd seen it on someone else's and thought it looked really awesome. But then hearing Olivia talk about it, it's made me really excited for this book. But if I do read it, it's probably going to be June. I then have, let's call it a Doomsday, and this book deals with anxiety. There could be other things in it as well, but like all books, I don't know too much about it. I just know that I thought it sounded really good. I really enjoy reading about mental health representation, so this could be a good one. And by the time this airs, I should have been on my spa weekend away, and this is one of the books I offered my friends to choose for me, so I could have read it. But if I haven't, it might have whetted my appetite for it. And then the other contender I have in here, obviously, you know, Oathbringer, Kaladin has depression. There's other things going on with other characters. So that could definitely work as well. But I also have The Opposite of Butterfly Hunting, which is a memoir by Ivana Lynch, who you will know from playing Luna Lovegood in the very famous fantasy TV film set Harry Potter. And I heard her talking about this on Sarah Cox's BBC Two book club. Between the Covers, that's what it was, and I thought it sounded, I really loved watching her on that, and I thought this sounded amazing, and so I'm really keen to get to this one. Okay, quickly a few other ones we have Humorous by Hobber. So character Hobber, the prompt is read a humorous book. So again, ones I've already spoken about, I have so many of them. I found the first books in these series really funny, so I'm sure I'll do the same for this one. I also enjoyed Percy Jackson as well. I would count certain parts of Oathbringer as, it's not a humorous book, but I laughed at certain parts of Oathbringer. I laughed at Edge Dancer. All possibilities. Then we have Shen, and for this one it is read a book by an Indigenous author or with an Indigenous character in it. So there are many that I would like to get to, like Elazzo Little Badger, Seven Fallen Feathers, and another one that I have not been able to find the title of. Again, this was another recommendation from Olivia at OliviasCatastrophe, and I thought I'd written it down, but I hadn't. And I thought it involved a feather, but searching Indigenous author and feather gave me nothing. So I'll have to trawl through her videos and see if I can find it, because that one also sounded really good. But it makes sense for me to go with the book that I actually own, that I am really excited about, and it is on my list of books that I want to read this year, and that is The Firekeeper's Daughter by Angeline Boulet. I've heard so many good things about this book. It is a YA thriller. I'm really excited to read it, so I'm pretty sure this is going to be on my, well, it will be on my June TBR now, so there we go. Then we have Moash, and we want to read a story with, it doesn't need to be the whole plot of the book, but it could be a small, like, side theme of revenge, or it could be like a little bit of payback, like characters playing tricks on each other or something. Again, I can't remember, but there could be something in here that links to. There's a lot going on in this book. There could be some tricks happening in this one. I'm not entirely sure. Again, Oathbringer could count because it will very easily fit all of the prompts on this, because it's from the Stormlight Archive and it's Mahusive, so it has a lot of stuff it can cover. There is another book that has been brought to my attention from Becca at Becca and the Books. I think I've listed, yeah, and I have got it pegged down to possibly read in May during some other readathons, and that is The Long Way Down by Jason Reynolds. In my library, it did say, my local library, there was a graphic novel version of this, which I thought was brilliant, but I couldn't find it. And I went in, so in my libraries you can ping and do libraries extra, where you can go into a library when there's no librarian there, and I was passing my way past from work and it was their lunch break, so there was no one to ask, and I couldn't find it anywhere, so I might have to go and track that down again. But there are also copies of it in novel form as well. It sounds really interesting. It is about a character who, something happens to them and they want revenge, and so they get down they live at the top floor of a block of flats, and they get in the lift and go down to go and inflict revenge, and as they go down they meet lots of different people. On each level of the floor a different person comes into the lift, and I just thought that sounds really, really interesting. Was it a novel in verse? It could be a novel in verse. I could have made that up. I don't know, basically. But I want to find that one, and that could work for this. Okay, only 3 left, so we're okay. Technically 4, but I'll come on to that one. So, Side Carry, which I think is possibly my favourite prompt because it makes me laugh so much. If you've read Way of Kings, you will understand. It's not really a spoiler. Minor, but it doesn't really... If you don't know, you don't know. And this is a book that should benefit you. And again, there are many, many things that would benefit me. This would benefit me to read it again because I love it and it will give me a joyous feeling. This would benefit me because, if you're wondering what the crying is, that would be my son. He's probably come in 2nd or 3rd place instead of 1st on Mario Kart. So that's what that noise is. My youngest is struggling with not winning. This would benefit me because, I'll go down to him in a minute, because I really had a wonderful time with Rainbow Grey in the first book, and I feel I will have a wonderful time in this book as well. Oathbringer would benefit me because it would be bringing me so much closer to Rhythm of War. The Name of All Things would benefit me because it will bring me closer to the Memory of Souls. Inkdeath could benefit me because then I'll have finished my reread of the Inkworld trilogy. To be fair, all of them would benefit me. I could be benefited by all of them. Oh, and one that I haven't mentioned yet. Passing. I really want to read Passing. It might fit into some of the prompts for the other readathon in May. We will see. But this would also benefit me, but I don't think it will fit into any of the other prompts unless there's a lot of cooking going on in this book, and then it would link into food. I don't think there's any LGBTQ plus rep. If there is, I haven't heard about it. I doubt there'd be any kind of mentoring going on. I don't know if there's an animal companion. Yeah, so I don't feel that this is going to fit into any of the other prompts, but I do really want to read Passing, so that would benefit me because I've been wanting to read it for such a long time. Okay, 2 more categories. We have Lopin, who is probably my 2nd favourite member of the Bridge 4 team. I love Lopin. He's hilarious. I find him so funny. And you know, as you're introduced to Lopin, the first thing that it kind of comes up is that he only has one arm. But he's so cheerful and like, oh, I should definitely come and join your team. You will need me. I am of value. And you know what? He is totally of value. Love Lopin so much. So for the Lopin, it is read a book with a physical disability. And I realised there's one book I did not put in this pile, which is annoying, but it's fine. It's a well-known book anyway. So first up we have Sweet Bean Paste. One of the characters in here has sort of like, I don't know what specifically it is, but it's something to do with her hands. She's got some sort of physical disability with her hands. I don't know if it's arthritis or something else. I will find out when I read it. But obviously this fits into the Asian Readathon, so that would be great. Percy Jackson, there is dyslexia in that. That's not a physical disability, is it? That's hypo. No, that's neurodivergent. ADHD is neurodivergent. Dyslexia is neurodivergent. Ignore that one. We'll pretend I didn't say it. So, contenders are Sweet Bean Paste and Get a Life Chloe Brown. She has chronic illness. A chronic illness. I can't remember. I've literally just earned this book. And it will also be one of the books that I have offered to my friends, as should this book be one of the books I bring to read on our spa weekend. So if I haven't read it, then it could then make this list. And I'm really excited to read Get a Life Chloe Brown. I've heard so many good things about it. This could be my first contemporary romance that I've read. Interesting. But I'm very excited to read it. And finally, we have Chasm Duty, which is read a challenging book. So I have different categories with this. Well, no, actually mainly the same one. So a challenging book, I think, in a readathon, because you're wanting to read as many books as possible. I feel reading bigger books feel challenging because you're kind of wanting to tick them off on your list. So this is challenging because it's big. It's going to be dealing with emotional subjects, and I think it's going to make me cry. Oathbringer is challenging because it's big. Boom. And if you see the width of this one, boom, it's all of the Stormlight Archive is over 1,000 pages. Oathbringer is the biggest one of those. Is it 1,200 or something? It's massive. So yes, it's a lot in Oathbringer. And the other one that I'm just going to throw into the mix because why not? I don't have it sat up there, but it's the second book in Ken Follett's The Pillars of the Earth companion novels, and that is World Without End. It's challenging because it's also Mahusive, but that would be ticking off continuing series for me. So that is a huge list of possibilities, and the final prompt is Bridge 4, and that is a reading sprint. And again, I love how clever these prompts are. Well done, Sophia. They are fantastic. So yes, sprinting with Bridge 4. Just take part in a reading sprint. It could be any sprint. It can be an official Shardathon one, or it could just be, you know, if there's a weekly sprint you like to join in with, where you read with other people and then say how many pages you read at the end of that section and talk about the books with them, then that would count. So any of these will count for that. Oh, so there we go. I've got another thing that I could fit into. It'd be amazing if I could just bash this out in one reading sprint. That would be cool. So there we go. That is everything that I may or may not read over June for Shardathon. I am so excited. Bridge 4. Happy reading, everyone. Please let me know if you're taking part in this, if you're hoping to get into the Stormlight Archive this year at some point. There is on Shelf-Based Discord, we are reading, Bridget has started Stormlight Archive Readathon, and the channels are just kind of open, so you can come and join in the chat on there. Obviously, if you're joining this readathon, Sophia has a Discord for it, so there'll be lots of chat going on there. And yeah, just talk to me in the comments, give a little like. If you want to subscribe, that'd be wonderful, and I will speak to you again soon. Now I'll say happy reading, everyone.